Come, let us explore Jigme's first yoga of mantra bases. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. The recommended reading for tonight's class are the 61st through 66th passages of Tantra's Treasure. Both Tantra's Treasure and the PDF version of this practice text are available for free download. The page where you can download them from, its link can be found in the description area below the video. In the upper right hand corner of this page, in faint font, you can read 333. That is how many pages are in this text. It's ungainly and difficult to navigate. So by all means, what you will want to do is this PDF has been formatted to be read upon your smartphone when held in the horizontal position. So you'll wish to download the free Kindle app that works both for iPhone as well as smartphone. Android. Number two, you'll want to migrate the PDF into the Kindle app. Number three, you'll be given a choice to open it up as a Kindle doc or a PDF. Choose a PDF. For a Kindle doc, will completely skew the formatting, and you don't want that. The Kindle app will allow you to both navigate the PDF with ease as well as bookmark it to your heart's content. Word of warning, the practice text is a work in progress, and the index, table of contents, is completely outdated. But if you simply go back to this video and jot down page numbers, you'll be fine. We read in the heading that circumstances are the first base of mindfulness. Well, how about a little context? More than 25 centuries ago, the Prince Siddhartha, in the northeast Indian kingdom of the Shakyas, left home to become the monk known as Gautama. Eventually, he would receive the nickname Buddha, or Enlightenment. Along the way, he studied intensely with two teachers of concentration, both of which felt he so mastered their teachings that he became their peer. However, he was not satisfied, and so he continued for 5 additional years practicing in the forest, sometimes alone, sometimes with 5 other ascetics. After practicing asceticism almost to the point of death, he had an epiphany. This epiphany that asceticism was as unproductive as the debauchery he experienced in the palace. He applied his desire for the middle way to his meditation and ceased to practice concentration. Instead of practicing rigid concentration, he practiced flexible mindfulness. Concentration compresses, mindfulness relaxes, and lets go. And so after years of practicing compressed concentration, at last he was practicing relaxed mindfulness, and it was as if the metaphoric doors of his senses had swung open upon their hinges, and he was inundated with sensory information, with sensations, and flavors, and scents, and sights, and sounds, with emotions, and intentions, and calculations, and recollections, and imaginings. And so he thought to organize his experience into 4 categories. The Sutric tradition of both the Theravadas and Mahayanas tend to describe them in terms of body and feelings and mind and phenomena or circumstance. From the tantric perspective, we label them in this sequence: circumstance, body, communication, and mind. Now we have some perspective. So we're going to now approach our experience of our circumstance. By the way, this woman depicted in embrace with her tantric partner is named in Sanskrit 4oct20 and in English Red Star or Red Tara, and in Tibetan Droma Marmo. Fundamentalists tend to think of Buddha, tend to think that all the Buddhas written about were real, and sometimes give them godlike powers. Liberals are ambivalent to the status of a celestial being as being real or imagined. They're much more comfortable. And they're very comfortable with figures and similes and metaphors, which is a theme we shall play with tonight. We're going to begin with some energy work. In Sanskrit, this can be described as Anu Yoga, and in Chinese, it could be described as Qigong. This particular one has been described as the Grand Cosmic Flow, which is a very highfalutin title for a super easy practice, or at least this presentation of it is easy. We're going to blend it with the 6-syllable mantra of enlightened activity. It is the 6-syllable mantra of Raktatare or Red Tara. I've gone into, so at the top of the page, we read the heading. Bringing the lower abdomen into the path of awareness and acquiescence. What's acquiescence mean? Acquiescence means liquid-like and refers to our ability to let go. On the left in small font, we read observant inhalation, and below that we read relaxingly whisper. I would describe these two phrases as contemplative notation, which function in a manner quite similar to musical notation. On the in-breath, so the phrase observant inhalation infers that when we, and by the way, There was a myth that the Buddha taught us to concentrate upon the breath. That teaching is as popular as it is wildly incorrect. The Buddha did not teach concentration, but encouraged us to notice what's going on without and within. So he also encouraged us to coordinate our contemplations with our breathing. That becomes evident when we read the Anapanasati Sutta or the mindfulness with breathing discourse. This is not pranayama. We do not control our breathing, for control is the path of patriarchy, the path of yang, the path of concentration. The Buddha taught the opposite. The path of yin, the path of matriarchy, the path of letting go and enjoying the ride. I'm going to take a moment to make sure the microphone's on. Is the microphone on? Yes, it is. Woohoo. So when we notice our body breathing in, we silently and mentally recite to ourselves, grin to guts. So we do not verbally recite. We do not use our vocal cords or our jaw or our lip. Aham. We use our mind, this 3 pounds of meat between our ears. We drop these words into our inner monologue the way a hungry vegan might drop pieces of fruit into a running blender in order to make a smoothie. When we say grin to gut, we mean a subtle Mona Lisa grin, as opposed to a Pennywise the Clown grin. When we say gut, we mean abdomen, specifically lower abdomen. And if this sounds vague, it's supposed to be. Lives have been squandered. Contemplatives have wasted their entire careers with minutia. I used to be one of them. There is power in vagary. But don't believe me. Ask the writings of Milton Erickson. His entire career was built on strategic vagaries. So on the in-breath, we silently and mentally recite grin to guts. And on the out-breath, we whisper the 6-syllable mantra while relaxing as best we can. The 6-syllable mantra, the first syllable om, rhymes with home. And it basically is the syllable of invocation. The syllable ta sounds like ta-ta, the greeting. The syllable re sounds like a ray gun or a ray of sunshine piercing the clouds. The syllable tom sounds like a variation of Tom, which is short for Thomas. So, as something Captain Picard might say upon the bridge of the Enterprise, make it so. And ha is the syllable. Ha is the noise you make when I tell a funny joke. So you put it together, and what you have is a syllable of invocation and a syllable of supplication. Come on, cursor, don't fail me now. So what are we supplicating? Well, tare refers to the compassionate activity, or the embodiment of compassionate activity, which is the Buddha tare, according to legend. And tam is a syllable that refers to tare's mind of the wisdom of letting go. So, from a liberal point of view, this could be described as a figurative statement. May all beings everywhere master the path of dynamic love and the wisdom of letting go. May it be so. So this is a pretty inert series of ideas. Don't worry, you're not conjuring a demon come to drag you to hell. You'll notice that the mantra repeats not once, not twice, but 4 times. The idea is to be able to whisper it 4 times in one breath. The first time you do that, that might seem like an impossibility. Do what you can. The most important thing is not your eloquence, is not your pronunciation, is not your singing voice or ability to intone or do breath control. The most important part, the most important aspect is to physically relax as best you can while whispering the mantra. That is where the real power lies. These words on the left were the contemplative notation. These words here on the right are the tabulatory notation. In other words, to help us not to lose count. Sure, you could use a mala, but malas can get lost or stolen or broken, or in the age of fascism, confiscated. I'm very grateful that many years ago an aging Bengali turned me on to a system of crease counting, which I shall share with you tonight. Just as in a gym, we separate our activities into repetitions and sets. We're going to count our sets upon our left hand and our repetitions upon our right. If you've seen my silent meditation videos on IGTV, you've seen me sitting there probably holding those postures with my fingers, those gestures with my fingers, as I sit silently in my neighbor's front yard. Why my neighbor's front yard? Because he has better shade. We're going to count one set of one breath, and during that one breath we're going to whisper the 6-syllable mantra 4 times. We're going to keep track of all this rigmarole by touching the tip of our left thumb to our left little finger, and then specifically we're going to slide that thumb down to the little finger's lower set of creases. On our right hand, we're going to count our one breath on our right little finger. And we're going to count the 4 recitations of the mantra during that breath on the 3 creases and tip of our right little finger. Let us begin. Om Dadedam Soha, Om Dadedam Soha, Om Dadedam Soha, Om Dadedam Soha. Let's discuss posture. Assuming you are sitting upon a chair right now, sit up straight, no slouching. Scoot your tush to the edge of the chair. Head over shoulders, shoulders over tuchus, feet flat upon the floor. Save your slouching for lounging. Save your slouching for Netflix and chill. Return to our second of 4 energy exercises. We're going to count upon the 3 creases and tip of our right ring finger. Grin 2 feet. Om Dadedam Soha, Om Dadedam Soha, Om Dadedam Soha, Om Dadedam Soha. We now prepare to count upon the 3 sets of creases and tip of our right and middle finger. Grin 2 hands. Om Dadedam Soha, Om Our fourth exercise of this set is grin to crown. And crown would be the part of your head known as your fontanel. That's a part of a baby's skull that's the last bit to close. That's a place where the three sutures of the skull meets right on top. Grin to crown. There are many ways to perform this exercise. Over the multiple decades that I've been working with it, this method that you just practiced is both the easiest and most powerful. We now begin our first set of love training, known as Metta in Pali or Tong in Tibet. Bear in mind, I am a terrible linguist and I pronounce every word in every other language incorrectly. At least I'm consistent. The heading tells us that we're going to bring circumstantial love into the personal scope. Well, so before we begin, we're going to advance our left thumb up our left little finger to the middle set of creases. Now, in contemplative notation, we practice an economy of syllables. Why spend the 3 syllables to say good fortune? I mean, you can reduce it to 1 syllable and say boon. Why use the 3-syllable word circumstance when you can use its synonym, lot in life, and then reduce that down to the word lot? So boon for this here lot is basically a desire, the wish that our circumstance would become fortunate. And that if our circumstance is already fortunate, that it would become even more fortunate. So there's 2 things to explore there. Number 1, hey, if we're supposed to be training love, won't this make us selfish bastards? And the response to that question is, we already are. Every complex life form has a brainstem, which is wired to be a self-serving bastard. But us mammals, every healthy mammal has a midbrain replete with anterior gyrate and a firmament of mirror neurons. Every healthy mammal is wired for empathy and compassion and cooperation. Now, if we're very, very clever, we can use our pre-existing selfishness and push off against it the way a sprinter pushes off against starting blocks. And capture that momentum and feed that momentum into our love of our neighbors and our fellow earthlings and all beings of all worlds, real or imagined. Which is exactly what we are going to do in the next few minutes. Now, as promised, a second thing to consider. Clearly, none of us are Morgana the Mage or Merlin the Magician. How can we possibly increase our good fortune, no less everybody else's? Well, my friends, the good news is that is not our job. No, it's not our job to manipulate our circumstances or other people's circumstances. That is the folly of Yang. That is the folly of patriarchy. And this is the path of matriarchy. All we are using these words to do is to gently guide our intention, our will, or to use a fancy term, our volition. No, not our emotions. If we try to control our emotions, they will bite our finger off. But we can gently guide our intention through the cunning use of words. Thus, if all we do is silently and mentally recite words to guide our intention towards love, while relaxing as best we can into the whispered recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, if we do that twice a day, every day, great good could come from that. It is inevitable. But do not take my word for it. Put it to the test. Let us count upon the 3 sets of creases and tip of our right little finger. Boon for this here lot. Prepare to count upon our right ring finger. Boon for neighbor's lots. Who is our neighbor? Whatever living being we perceive with any one or more of our 5 senses, wherever we go, whoever we perceive, that is our neighbor. And one of the delicious things about that definition of neighbor is that it makes hate and racism and sexism and classism and jingoism and speciesism very difficult to perform. And that's a good thing. Boon for neighbors lots. Let us prepare to count upon our right middle finger. Boon for earthlings lots. And before we do that, let's take a moment to consider. We live in a world where the majority of cultures have become very greed-based, very competition-based. Where the number of homeless people on this planet is outnumbered by the vacant dwelling places on this planet, where there are uneaten food is thrown away, prepackaged food is thrown away rather than be given to hungry people. There's something very wrong here. We are sitting on the razor's edge of a profound wealth redistribution to the upper 1/10%. They are on the verge of mass foreclosures and evictions, where the number of homeless will multiply and just a huge asset grab could happen. So this is a great time to lavish all beings everywhere very good, sustainable fortune. Let's practice this right now upon our right middle finger. Now we're going to go full sci-fi. I've been training for that my whole life. A boon for all beings lots. So when we say earthlings, what do we mean? We mean any and every being on Earth that walks or crawls or swims or flies. Every mammal wants only to love and be loved. Every complex life form with a brainstem wants only to live and not to die. In that we are all the same. if humanity is to pull back from the precipice of its own destruction, whether it be from nuclear winter or climate change or rampant fascism, humanity must move away from the brainstem's paradigm of competition, cruelty, move towards the midbrain's paradigm of empathy and cooperation. That is an excellent reason to train in love. And we've been training in aspirational love or wishing love, and that's Jim Dandy. But it's incomplete. Our love must translate into what we say and what we do. Now, most of us, I think it's safe to say, are not Jeff Bezos. Most of us do not have the financial means to house and clothe and educate and employ Earth's populace. However, there's something that each of us as individuals can do that over a lifetime could dramatically affect thousands of other living beings. And it's twofold. Number one, we can choose to not exploit, no less murder other living beings so we can eat their bodies or make use of their secretions or excretions or body parts or talents. And number two, we can stop paying other people to do that for us on our behalf with our consumer dollars. What I'm talking about is that if each of us chooses a whole food vegan diet, we will be directly alleviating the suffering of animals that would be killed in the name of our consumer dollars. No less the beings affected by climate change, which is also affected by animal husbandry, and we'll be reducing the amount of suffering of our loved ones from us dying prematurely. For a whole food vegan diet has been found by the World Health Organization to be optimal for all beings in all stages of life. Imagine that. If the idea of transitioning to a whole food vegan diet seems daunting, don't worry. There's a link in the description area below the video to a channel named Mike the Vegan. Go there. Mike can help you out. He's smart. He's funny. He has hundreds of videos, each better than the next. He also has wonderful resources, so he can hook you up. Now that we've trained in love, let us prepare to train in wisdom. Not the cleverness to create a longer lasting light bulb, but the wisdom of letting go. We shall begin by advancing the tip of our left thumb upon our left little finger to the higher set of creases. And now we're going to play with simile. This here lot, like vati, senior void. Well, that's just gibberish. What the hell does that mean? Well, we got a simile here. What is vati? Vati is a Sanskrit word that can be translated literally as pure land or figuratively as paradise. So here's the question. How could this here circumstance be as non-graspable as a paradise of light? We experience it as being that non-graspable by relaxing into the whispered recitation of the 6-syllable mantra. 4. The word here, void, is a metaphor of non-graspability. When during our in-breath, when we notice our circumstance, subjectively, our circumstance could feel permanent and separate and tangible. However, as we relax physically into the whispered recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, our circumstance could feel less permanent, less separate, and less tangible. It could feel as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. What would be an example of a vast, empty void? The infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morning. How can we experience our circumstance as being as non-graspable as if it was a paradise of light? By relaxing into the whispered recitation of Om Tare Tam Soha. Let's do that now. Come, let us count upon our right little finger. And now we turn our attention to our neighbors. How could we experience our neighbors' circumstances as being as non-graspable as if they were a paradise comprised of light? By relaxing into the whispered recitation of Om Tare Tam Soha. How could we viscerally experience all earthling circumstances as being as non-graspable as a paradise of light, a vati, by relaxing into the whispered recitation of the mantra? How could all beings, how could we experience the circumstances of all beings, of all worlds, real or imagined, as being as apparent, yet as non-graspable as vati? We do that by physically relaxing into the whispered recitation of the mantra. We've worked really hard. We've played with, 12 contemplations. We're now going to take a break from those contemplations and just relax our mind through meditation. Meditation is different than contemplation. It's very, very passive. It's like being the difference between being a screenwriter or simply sitting in the audience of the theater and enjoying the movie. This method of meditation is known by many things. It's known as Zen, or Chan, or Mahamudra, or Mahasandhi, or Anti-Yoga, or Trekcho, or Dzogchen. I like to refer to it simply as watching the play of mind and relaxing into its release. Let's begin by advancing our left thumb up our left little finger to its tip. We're now going to count one set of 4 breaths. We begin the first breath upon the right little finger. How relax into the awareness of this? This is a rhetorical question. And by definition, the power of a rhetorical question is found not in our efforts to answer it, but in our recitation of it, silent and passive and not conceptual, and the enthusiasm with which we relax into the whispered recitation of the mantra. right ring finger. Right middle finger. Right index finger. I'll relax into the awareness of this. Please practice along with me. Now we're going to do some silent work. This exercise has been taught last week, so this is a bit of a review. First thing we're going to do, so this is called transference of consciousness. We're going to advance our left thumb. Now we've run out of left little finger, so our left thumb is going over the back of the left little finger, coming to rest upon its higher knuckle. Not its higher crease, but its higher knuckle. There's no need to visualize. It's simply enough to play with these words. On the in-breath, we silently and mentally recite, mind shoots out crown, boom. And on the out-breath, we silently and mentally recite, pay. So let's go over here real quick. Notice we replaced the word whisper with the word exhalation, which is how you know it's silent. We're going to do this for just one set of 4 breaths upon our right little finger. Let's do this right now. Now, PH in English sounds like an F, but in other countries, PH is just an aspirant sound, like pay. Kind of like saying pay, but in a breathy way. Pay. For the next 12 breaths, we're going to play with notice this, relaxing. And this is a silent version of the spontaneous awareness meditation. The wonderful thing about the pronoun this is that it is deliciously vague. It can refer to anything, external or internal, pleasurable or painful, glorious or grotesque. It can refer to sensations and flavors and scents and sights and sounds. It can refer to emotions and intentions and calculations and recollections and fantasies. Whatever seems to somersault across the stage of our mind like some psychotic Cirque du Soleil, we just notice. We don't analyze it. We don't even label it. We content ourselves with the silent and mental recitation of notice this, relaxing. Let's count upon the 3 sets of creases and tip of our right ring finger. Let us continue upon our right middle finger. And conclude upon our right index finger. We've completed the first of 4 bases of mindfulness, and we've completed a shit ton of explanation. Now that you have received the explanation, you don't need to hear it again. You can just pick up a good head of steam and go for it. Now, if you get confused during the remainder of the faster paced practice, just type in your question in the chat area, unless you're watching this video as a replay. In that case, just type in your question either in the comment area or as a direct message on Instagram, whose link can be found in the description area below the video. In the time of pandemic, meditating and contemplating our bodies is amazing. We begin by repeating the grand cosmic flow. Let's touch the tip of our left thumb to its left ring finger, lower set of creases. Grindagut. Oopsie, wrong button. Hate it when that happens. Right ring finger, grin to feet. Right middle finger, grin to hands. Right index finger, grin to crown. Let's practice physical wishing love. No one wants to get sick. No one wants to die. In that we are all the same. Whether we are of the same species or not, whether we speak the same language or not, whether we look similar or not, whether we vote the same way or not, whether we agree with each other's worldview or not, we are all united in our desire to be healthy and alive. Let us advance the tip of our thumb upon our left ring finger to its second set of creases. Let us count upon our right little finger, health for this here form. And now let us think about our neighbors, wherever we are, every living being that we perceive or think of as our neighbor. Health for neighbors' forms. Let us prepare to count upon our right middle finger. Health for earthlings' forms, all earthlings of all countries. And now, once again, go full science fiction. Health for all beings, forms, all beings of all worlds, real or imagined. If we practice love with letting go, it can feed our neurosis. If we practice letting go without practicing love, it can feed our aloofness and self-importance. It's been said the two bastard children of confusion are the jealousy that forgets interdependence and the pride that forgets impermanence. By balancing love and letting go, our practice of loving and letting go serve as an antidote for those two things. Now it's time for the wisdom of letting go. See, we're picking up steam. Let us advance the tip of our left thumb, up our left ring finger to its higher set of creases. This here form, like Tade, felt yet void. So Tade is thought of as a female Buddha. She is the archetype of enlightened activity, or in other words, dynamic love, love that translates into behavior. Whether she is real or imaginary, the question remains the same. How could we experience our body as being as non-graspable as a Buddha's body of light? By relaxing into the whispered recitation of her mantra. Just count upon the right little finger. And now for our neighbors. And now for all earthlings. Mindfulness is rooted in our inhalation. Letting go is rooted in our exhalation. Now it's time for spontaneous awareness meditation. Left thumb to tip of left ring finger. Let's count upon our right little finger. How relax into the awareness of this. Right ring finger. Right middle finger. Right index finger. First of two silent meditations. Just like before, we're going to touch the tip of our left thumb to our left ring finger's higher set of creases. And now we count upon our right ring finger. Notice this, relaxing. Right middle finger. Right index finger. If you've seen videos of me sitting upon my neighbor's lawn meditating, this is what I'm doing. I turn our attention now to communication. Let's return our thumb to the, let's touch our left thumb to its middle finger's lower set of creases. With our right little finger, grin to gut. Right ring finger, grin to feet. Right middle finger, grin to hands. Right index finger, grin to crown. Instagram is going bye-bye pretty soon. Now it's time for wishing love. Peace for this here speech. Well, what the hell does that mean? Communication is a way that we explore our interpersonal experience. Communication can be verbal or nonverbal. So this is a wish that all beings everywhere enjoy peaceful interrelationships, be they platonic or otherwise. Peace for this here speech. Beginning with ourselves, we're going to advance our left thumb up our left middle finger to its middle set of creases and work with our right little finger right now. And now we're going to work with our right ring finger. And now with our right middle finger, peace for earthling speech. And now our right index finger. Now we turn to the wisdom of letting go. We begin by advancing our left thumb up our left middle finger to its higher set of creases. How could we experience all interpersonal dynamics as being as non-graspable as a mantra that was comprised of light? Simple. By relaxing as best we can to the whispered recitation of the mantra. Let's begin with our right little finger. This here speech, like mantra, heard yet void. And now we turn attention to our neighbors as well as our right ring finger. And now all beings with whom we share the planet. And finally, all beings of all worlds, real or imagined. We conclude by resting the mind through the verbal version of the spontaneous awareness meditation. Left thumb is touching the tip of its left middle finger. We're now counting upon our right middle finger. We now prepare to perform our first of 2 silent meditations. We shall touch the tip of our left thumb to our left middle finger's higher knuckle. Mind shoots out, crown, pay. And now for the next 12 breaths, notice this, relaxing. Begin one upon your right ring finger. And now our right middle finger. I'm probably breathing faster than you because I'm doing all of this talking. And now our right index finger. We come to our 4th quarter, where we explore mind. We begin by touching the tip of our left thumb to its left index finger and sliding it down until it comes to rest upon its lower set of creases. We turn our attention to our right little finger, grin to gut. We now count upon the right ring finger, grin to feet. Right middle finger, grin to hands. And now our right index finger. We advance our left thumb up our left index finger to its middle set of creases and prepare to practice wishing love. We begin with our right little finger, joy for this here mind. We work now with our right ring finger, joy for neighbors' minds. We now prepare to work with our right middle finger, joy for earthlings' minds. And now we work with our right index finger, joy for all beings' minds. And now we practice the wisdom of letting go. We begin by advancing the tip of our left thumb upon its left index finger to the higher set of creases. We return our attention to our right hand and begin counting upon our right little finger. How could we... So, when we say the phrase... So, the basic text is, "This here mind, like seed Tom, clear yet void." Let's explore this. There are two types of mantra in India. A polysyllabic mantra, or a maha mantra, or a one-syllable mantra known as a bija mantra, or a seed mantra. So, when we say something is clear, in this context, we mean it's perceptive. So, if you had a jelly jar, and it was full of rocks, and it was between your face and my face, you would not be able to see my face. But if we emptied out the jelly jar and filled it with just clean water, you could see my face just fine. The view would be clear and unobstructed. So, clear is a reference to perception. It's a reference to our ability to perceive sensation and flavor and scent and sight and sound, as well as perceive emotion and intention and calculation and recollection and imagination. So, even though our minds are perceptive, how could we experience them as being non-graspable? As non-graspable as if they were a syllable comprised of light? Simple. By relaxing as best we can into the whispered recitation of the 6-syllable mantra. Let's do that right now upon our right little finger. And now we count upon our right ring finger. Neighbor's minds, like seed Tom, clear yet void. In Buddhism, we must never underestimate the power of relaxation. Right middle finger. And we conclude with our right index finger. Now it's time for the verbal version of the spontaneous awareness meditation. Let us advance the tip of our left thumb up our left index finger to its tip. How relax into the awareness of this. Let's begin with our right little finger. Right ring finger. Right middle finger. And conclude with right index finger. Now it's time for our last two silent meditations of the evening. We are going to, just like before, slide the tip of our thumb over the top of our left index finger until it comes to rest upon that left index finger's higher knuckle. Not higher set of creases, but higher knuckle. Line shoots out, crown. pay. And now for the last 12 breaths. Notice this relaxing. Let us begin by counting upon the 3 sets of creases and tip of our right index finger. Right middle, let's see here. I'm a little confused. I should have said right little finger. Please excuse me. Right ring finger. Right middle finger. And we conclude with our right index finger. And that concludes this evening's live stream. This is a big one. I hope you enjoyed it. When you practice this on your own, using them as practice materials, you will have questions. And when you do, I invite you to share those questions with me, either as a direct message on Instagram or as a comment on YouTube. And I'll do my best to answer it, either in a blog or a video or a live stream. If you have found any value in these live streams or videos or podcasts or blog posts, or class materials, numerous and free to download, then please consider supporting this channel using one of the links in the description area below this video. Now, if you cannot afford to do that at this time, you can support this channel for free by doing 4 things. By clicking the subscribe button, by clicking the bell-shaped notification button so that you won't miss out on a single video, by clicking the thumbs up like button, and by typing a meaningful comment. For these things really help with the algorithm. And perhaps this is a good time to dispel the myth of the greedy monk. For in the Tibetan tradition, neither monks, nor yogis, nor even lamas are supported by monasteries. Au contraire. The monasteries charge them rent and food and board and supplies. They charge them for everything. And so, monks and yogis and lamas must seek patronage from family and friends and students and strangers. And those who fail to manifest such patronage wander homeless. My friends, I thank you for your time and your kind attention. Until next we speak, may you and yours be happy and healthy.